What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You have changed. You've changed, meaning that the things that you used to be accustomed to, the people that you used to hang around with, so many things, that you refuse to remain idle on your path to greatness. And the most important thing that I definitely want to hammer home is you have to continue the change. You have to continue the improvement. You have to continue the transition, right? And not that type of transition, but the type of transition that's going to further engulf you into what you're specifically here to do, understanding your life's purpose. And know that not everybody and not everything can coexist with you as you are directing and gearing your focus to where it needs to be. When people come across or come into crossroads, just like how you're on the street, you're driving, or let's say you're in the city, you normally are going to have a lot of one-way streets. And I feel like as though in life, when you're starting off as a child and you're steady progressing, and especially too, if you don't have any direction, if you don't have an adult or someone who you look up to, or someone who can be some type of figure, positive figure in your life, who can give you direct, true direction, you have to be able to navigate the seas of questions that is being presented to you, whether you know whether or not it's good or whether it's bad. But deep down, we all have a system, we all have something deeply ingrained in us to let us know that we are on the right track once we manage to really silence the noise or filter through the noise. Some people will appreciate who you've become in order to do so, and others will hate whom you become to do so. And I feel as though as long as that you are doing the things necessary for yourself, that's not impeding or inhibiting somebody else, or even being some form of a detriment to somebody else's life, then you're doing wonders. You're doing great. And since we're such in a tight niche or a tight matrix of copycats and everybody really aspiring to be like one another, and there's no true sense of individuality with you knowing yourself, you can easily find yourself in a box or being stuck in a loop. If there was a way of you being in the past of someone who was being gullible or not knowing, but then you take it upon yourself to acknowledge your weaknesses and build around those weaknesses, connecting those weaknesses to strengths, and strengthening yourself in every bit of the way, you are going to rub somebody's feathers, or a group of people's feathers, or a society. But this is the key thing that you have to do when you're on this path. You have to dissect, you have to separate from the pack, the commonalities, the proceeds in which you choose to think, act, react, respond. You have to get to a point where you can easily separate your thoughts from emotions. And all I have to say is that if it's not really being supported by facts, that you're going into facts that is applicable, facts that no matter what you do, it's always going to be that answer, like 2 plus 2 always going to equal 4. But the moment that you stop that, the moment that you stop paying attention to the truth, you're going to find yourself having to relive that same cycle. And if you want to be able to be in a position where you feel as though it feels right, or the steps or the process which you're going through feels right, you have to break that cycle. A lot of people are not on the path that they chose, and choosing meaning connecting to what feels naturally right. A lot of us are just living in a state of dogma where the path itself has already been chosen for you, and you're literally just following what the status quo is, what the given matrix, the matrix that was already established before you even got here. And if you're returning, then more than likely you're just resuming where you left off, but on a whole other saved game, right? But the biggest question that you have to ask yourself is, what are the things that you can do to help break the cycle, or this continuous cycle that you're in? And one of the key things that I realized up until this point, as of now, as I'm really doing this, is dedication. Dedication and consistency. Reaching so deep into this level of perseverance, bro, and not caring what other people think about you when you have already done all the best that you could in order to win or gain the attention or garner the attention or the love or understanding from people. Because a lot of those things that we feel that is external from us, if whenever we feel as though that may be permanent, it's not. And you're going to find yourself realizing that every time that you try to people please, and people please to the wrong people, and I don't really think should nobody really people please, and it really does vary if it's on a one-on-one basis, or like anything that's not really going towards the type of creativity, or it's not hitting towards creativity. Don't focus on trying to people please. The only time it really makes sense is from what I've experienced and from what I've understand so far, is if you have a product and it's something that is external for you, but it's an extension of you. But you have a product and the crowd is liking it. The community is following it. People are reposting it. People are also giving their perspective on the thing that you took the time to create. That's the only time where it makes sense to me. But the way I'm even looking at this life is that, hey, bro, you really came into this shit by yourself. And you're literally going to leave this world by yourself, even if you have a twin. And I feel as though we're in the biggest era. It's not even what I feel, it's the truth. We're in the biggest era where there's too much duplication. Everybody's going after the same thing, but there's no creative itch that's within them to separate them from the rest of the pack. And meaning is, people don't really truly know themselves. That's one of the things that I really have realized doing this and putting out videos on this YouTube channel, interacting with other people throughout my 20s. I've realized that, and even interacting with people above my 20s, a lot of people just don't know themselves. And so many people get hooked on drugs, you know, snow dust, Mary Jane, like alcohol, like really and truly abusing these substances just for them to help numb the fact that they have to deal with themselves. If you have to numb the fact that you have to deal with yourself and deal with others, then chemically something in your mind has to trigger that this is wrong. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I haven't done, Mary Jane or drank alcohol or any of those things. But where I drew the line was, you know what? I'm literally only doing this just to enhance what I already feel. And that's where I feel that people tend to do these things. I'm doing that out of leisure. Other people are doing it based off of routine habits and distractions. The level of whether they want to recognize it or highlight it or not, but it's a level of self-hate. If you consistently intoxicating yourself and it doesn't have to even be substances, just the people that you have around and people who want to be around you. If you're finding yourself in a consistent or a constant state of having to separate yourself and you feel drained and, all these different things, bro, whether you realize it or not, whether you realize it at this current time or later, time is going to have to pass by regardless. And time is something that's consistent. But the moment you realize it in your lifetime and take the actionary steps to get you there, and it's before you even take those actionary steps, it's really just a mindset. You having to readjust your mindset. People want to say that you changed. A lot of you have relationships that's only built off of pain and misery if you really think about it. The people who you smoke with, you're only smoking with them because they smoke. The people who you drink with, you're only drinking with them because they drink. All this hardcore stuff that people are doing just to cope. Copia. And it doesn't have to even be certain substances. It can just be the process in which people think. Let's say you want to stop thinking negative and stop having negative conversations. There are just people who are so deep and so ingrained and so in tune to that it only seems to be that's their only life or their only perspective on things in life. And if you're not down to have or be in that negative state of mind or state of being, people will fire you up, my nigga. Like, they will fire you up because you don't want to be in that state no more. And at the end of the day, bro, it's not for everybody else to understand that this is not where you dwell or know where you belong anymore. You're not there anymore. And that's okay. It's okay for you to move on and not want to be, not to have people wanting to pirate you, your energy source, your mind, your attention, your mind, your heart, your soul, your being, your whole thing, bro. And what's so beautiful about the body is a complete reflection of the mental state, spiritual state, and soul and mind state that you're in. I've seen people at the gym that I've seen before drink, throwing shots back like a sailor. Now they go to the gym, let's say they may be active, they have their body right to some degree, but it's like, how long can you really try to be able to maintain that? And especially at the youthful state that you're in. There's so many levels of self-hate that people exude that you have to make sure that while you're around them, you're not adopting or slowly adding that state of insecurity into your everyday state of consciousness. A lot of people are not going to understand or choose to understand. I wouldn't say people don't understand. I would say a lot of people wouldn't choose to understand because we all carry our own burdens. And whatever that burden that you're carrying may be different or maybe a heavier load from somebody else who's also going through that process. But the moment that you're able to get yourself out of that situation faster and be and rebuild, reconstruct, make your own perpetual state of positivity, bro, it's going to eat people up oftentimes. People don't seem to be having manners anymore. People, it seems like the art of communication or communicating with other people just seems to be such a daunting thing that everything is being blurred by catchphrases or phrases and all these different things where this one word can have a multitude of meanings. And I'll be real with you, it's at a point where there's so much of that going on to where there's too much of a gray area, a gray zone. And at first, I would think that people will just be playing with you, but really and truly, ultimately, people are actually just playing themselves. Anything that they can do to steer their own way from being self-accountable, accountability. You only have one life to really choose or operate at the highest level that you can. If it pertains to you really choosing, or even if you don't really have a goal, just living your life in a sense of with the least amount of negativity that you can, and not having substances. And again, doesn't have to really be, like rugs, if you know what I mean. But like the same habits, If you're a negative thinker, change the way you think. If you're tired of being negative, change the way you think, change the way you act, change the way you do a lot of these things, because oftentimes the things that you feel as though that you're battling with aren't even your shit. It's things that are things that you have accumulated over time, and it has put you in a state of like how you have like the old CD players back then. You find out one track, you put that shit on repeat. It's literally that. Unrepeat the track and move on. There's nothing there that you have to sit through or further analyze, and you done all that shit enough, bro. Go ahead and get yourself ready to get the heck on. Whether it's a physical movement or transition, a mental transition, or a spiritual transition. Put away the vices that is keeping you in that same blockade state. Because I promise you, if you don't, you're going to look back 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 15 years from now, and then finally come to this point and be like, hey, something needs to change. Don't be ruled or governed by your feelings. Don't even be ruled and be governed by your thoughts. Use actions that are the truths, that are the facts, whether you vibe with it or not. If it's truthful and it's truth and it's beneficial, it's going to actually help you and improve yourself and improve your life. Apply those things. Apply those new qualities. Pick up that new book. Do different things to get you out of that repeated state of mind or repeated state of being. If you guys made it this far, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Appreciate the growth so far. We're getting back into this long form content posting. We're entering the last quarter, right? The third to last quarter, second to last quarter, whatever you want to call it. But we're entering it. So with that being said, y'all do your thing. Appreciate y'all.